Shalom. Thanks for joining me and welcome to your True Identity in Him channel. Today's reading will focus on Parashah 1, Bereshit, also known as Genesis. Bereshit means in the beginning. This parashah will cover chapter 1, verse 1 through chapter 6, verse 8. We will then read the corresponding Haftarah portion from the book of Isaiah, chapter 42, verse 5 through chapter 43, verse 10. We'll conclude our reading in the Gospels from the book of John, chapter 1, verse 1 through 17. Okay, let's begin. Bereshit, in the beginning. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was unformed and void. Darkness was on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God hovered over the surface of the water. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God saw that the light was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So there was evening, and there was morning one day. God said, "Let there be a dome in the middle of the water, and let it divide the water from the water." God made the dome and divided the water under the dome from the water above the dome, and that is how it was. And God called the dome sky. So there was evening, and there was morning, a second day. God said, "Let the water under the sky be gathered together into one place, and let dry land appear." And that is how it was. God called the dry land earth. The gathering together of the water he called seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, "Let the earth put forth grass, seed-producing plants, and fruit trees, each yielding its own kind of seed-bearing fruit on the earth." And that is how it was. The earth brought forth grass, plants, each yielding its own kind of seed, and trees, each producing its own kind of seed-bearing fruit. And God saw that it was good. So there was evening, and there was morning, a third day. God said, "Let there be lights in the dome of the sky to divide the day from the night. Let them be for signs, for seasons, days, and years, and let them be for lights in the dome of the sky to give light to the earth." And that is how it was. God made the two great lights, the larger light to rule the day, and the smaller light to rule the night, and the stars. God put them in the dome of the sky to give light to the earth, to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. So there was evening, and there was morning, a fourth day. God said, "Let the water swarm with swarms of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth in the open dome of the sky." God created the great sea creatures and every living thing that creeps, so that the water swarmed with all kinds of them. And there was every kind of winged bird, and God saw that it was good. Then God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful, multiply, and fill the water of the seas, and let birds multiply on the earth." So there was evening, and there was morning, a fifth day. God said, "Let the earth bring forth each kind of living creature, each kind of livestock, crawling animal, and wild beast." And that is how it was. God made each kind of wild beast, each kind of livestock, and every kind of animal that crawls along the ground. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let us make humankind in our image, in the likeness of ourselves, and let them rule over the fish in the sea, the birds in the air, the animals, and over all the earth, and over every crawling creature that crawls on the earth. So God created humankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. God blessed them. God said to them, "Be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea, the birds in the air, and every living creature that crawls on the earth." And then God said, "Here, throughout the whole earth, I am giving you as food every seed-bearing plant and every tree with a seed-bearing fruit, and to every wild animal, bird in the air, and creature crawling on the earth, in which there is a living soul, I am giving as food every kind of green plant." And that is how it was. God saw everything that he had made, and indeed it was very good. So there was evening, and there was morning, a sixth day. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, along with everything in them. And on the seventh day, God was finished with his work which he had made. So he rested on the seventh day from all of his work which he had made. And God blessed the seventh day, and he separated it as holy, because on that day God rested from all his work which he had created, so that it itself could produce. Here is the history of the heavens and the earth when they were created. On the day when Adonai, God, made earth and heaven, there was as yet no wild bush on the earth, and no wild plant had as yet sprung up, for Adonai God had not caused it to rain on the earth, and there was no one to cultivate the ground. Rather, a mist went up from the earth, which watered the entire surface of the ground. Then Adonai God formed a person from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, so that he became a living being. Adonai God planted a garden toward the east in Eden, and there he put the person whom he had formed. Out of the ground, Adonai God caused to grow every tree pleasing in appearance and good for food, including the tree of life in the middle of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. A river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from there it divided into 4 streams. The name of the first is Pishon. It winds throughout the land of Havilah, where there is gold. The gold of that land is good. Aromatic resin and onyx stone are also found there. And the name of the second river is Gihon. It winds throughout the land of Cush. The name of the third river is Tigris, and it is the one that flows towards the east of Asher. And the fourth river is the Euphrates. Adonai God took the person and he put him in the Garden of Eden to cultivate and care for it. Adonai God gave the person this order: "You may freely eat from every tree in the garden, except the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. You are not to eat from it, because on the day that you eat from it, it will become certain that you will die." Adonai God said, "It isn't good that the person should be alone. I will make for him a companion suitable for helping him." So from the ground, Adonai God formed every wild animal and every bird that flies in the air, and he brought them to the person to see what he would call them. And whatever the person would call each living creature, that was to be its name. So the person gave names to all the livestock, to the birds in the air, and to every wild animal. But for Adam there was not found a companion suitable for helping him. Then God caused a deep sleep to fall upon the person, and while he was sleeping, he took one of his ribs and closed up the place from which he took it with flesh. And the rib which Adonai, God, had taken from the person, he made a woman person, and he brought her to the man person. The man person said at last, "This is bone from my bones and flesh from my flesh. She's to be called woman, because she was taken out of man. And this is why a man is to leave his father and mother and stick with his wife, and they are to be one flesh." They were both naked, the man and his wife, and they were not ashamed. Now, the serpent was more crafty than any wild animal which Adonai, God, had made. He said to the woman, "Did God really say you're not to eat from any tree in the garden?" The woman answered the serpent, "We may eat from the fruit of the trees of the garden, but about the fruit of the tree in the middle of the garden, God said, you're neither to eat from it nor touch it, or you will die." And the serpent said to the woman, "It is not true that you will surely die, because God knows that on the day that you eat from it, your eyes will be open and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." When the woman saw that the tree was good for food, that it had a pleasing appearance, and that the tree was desirable for making one wise, she took some of its fruit and ate. She also gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate. Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they realized that they were naked. So they sewed fig leaves together to make themselves loincloths. They heard the voice of Adonai, God, walking in the garden at the time of the evening breeze. So the man and his wife, they hid themselves from the presence of Adonai, God, among the trees in the garden. Adonai, God, called to the man, "Where are you?" And he answered, "I heard your voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid myself." And he said, "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree which I ordered you not to eat?" The man replied, "The woman you gave to be with me, she gave me fruit from the tree, and I ate." Adonai, God, said to the woman, "What is this you have done?" And the woman answered, "The serpent tricked me, so I ate." Adonai, God, said to the serpent, "Because you have done this, you are cursed more than all livestock and wild animals, and you will crawl on your belly and eat dust as long as you live. I will put animosity between you and the woman, and between your descendant and her descendant. He will bruise your head, and you will bruise his heel." And to the woman he said, "I will greatly increase your pain in childbirth. You will bring forth children in pain. Your desire will be towards your husband, but he will rule over you." And to Adam he said, "Because you listened to what your wife said and ate from the tree about which I gave you the order you're not to eat from it, the ground is cursed on your account, and you will work hard to eat from it as long as you live, and it will produce thorns and thistles for you, and you will eat field plants. You will eat bread by the sweat of your forehead till you return to the ground, for you were taken out of it. You are dust, and you will return to dust." The man called his wife Hava, which means life, because she was the mother of all living. Adonai, God, made garments of skin for Adam and his wife and clothed them. Adonai, God, said, "See, the man has become like one of us, knowing good and evil. Now to prevent his putting out his hand and taking also from the tree of life, eating and living forever. Therefore Adonai, God, sent him out of the garden of Eden to cultivate the ground from which he was taken. So he drove the man out, and he placed at the east of the garden of Eden the cherubim, and a flaming sword which turned in every direction to guard the way to the tree of life. Sorry about the dog in the background, guys. The man had sexual relations with Hava, his wife. She conceived. She gave birth to Cain and said, I have acquired a man from Adonai. In addition, she gave birth to his brother Hevel. Hevel kept sheep, while Cain worked the soil. In the course of time, Cain brought an offering to Adonai from the produce of the soil, and Hevel too brought from the firstborn of his sheep, including their fat. Adonai accepted Hevel and his offering, but did not accept Cain and his offering. Cain was very angry, and his face fell. Adonai said to Cain, "Why are you angry? Why so downcast? If you are doing what is good, shouldn't you hold your head high? And if you don't do what is good, sin is crouching at the door. It wants you, but you can rule over it." Cain had words with Hevel, his brother, and then one time, when they were in the field, Cain turned on Hevel, his brother, and killed him. Adonai said to Cain, "Where is Hevel, your brother?" And he replied, "I don't know. Am I my brother's guardian?" He said, "What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood is crying out to me from the ground. Now you are cursed from the ground, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood at your hands. When you farm the ground, it will no longer yield its strength to you. You will be a fugitive wandering the earth." Cain said to Adonai, "My punishment is greater than I can bear. You're banning me today from the land, and from your presence I will be a fugitive wandering the earth, and whoever finds me will kill me." Adonai answered him, "Therefore, whoever kills Cain will receive vengeance sevenfold." And Adonai put a sign on Cain, so that no one who found him would kill him. So Cain left the presence of Adonai and lived in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Cain had sexual relations with his wife. She conceived and gave birth to Hanoch. Cain built a city and named the city after his son Hanoch. To Hanoch was born Irad, and Irad fathered Mehujael. Mehujael fathered Metushael, and Metushael fathered Lamech. Lamech took himself 2 wives. The name of one was Adah, while the name of the other was Zillah. Adah gave birth to Yaval. He was the ancestor of those who live in tents and have cattle. His brother's name was Yuval, and he was the ancestor of all who play the lyre and the flute. Zillah gave birth to Tuval Cain, who forged all kinds of tools from brass and iron. And the sister of Tuval Cain was Naamah. And Lamech said to his wife, "Adah and Zillah, listen to me. Wives of Lamech, hear what I say. I killed a man for wounding me, a young man who injured me. If Cain will be avenged sevenfold, then Lamech 77-fold." Adam again had sexual relations with his wife, and she gave birth to a son whom she named Shet. "For God has granted me another seed in place of Hevel, since Cain killed him." To Shet she too was born a son whom he called Enosh. That is when people began to call on the name of Adonai. Here is the genealogy of Adam. On the day that God created man, he made him in the likeness of God. He created the male and female. He blessed them and called them Adam, humankind, basically. And on the day they were created, after Adam lived 130 years, he fathered a son like himself and named him Shet. And after Shet was born, Adam lived another 800 years and had both sons and daughters. In all, Adam lived 930 years, and then he died. Shet lived 105 years and fathered Enosh. After Enosh was born, Shet lived another 807 years and had sons and daughters. In all, Shet lived 912 years, and then he died. Enosh lived 90 years and fathered Kenan. After Kenan was born, Enosh lived another 815 years and had sons and daughters. In all, Enosh lived 905 years, and then he died. Kenan lived 70 years and fathered Mahalalel. And after Mahalalel was born, Kenan lived another 840 years and had sons and daughters. In all, Kenan lived 910 years, and then he died. Mahalalel lived 65 years and fathered Yered. After Yered was born, Mahalalel lived another 830 years and had sons and daughters. In all, Mahalalel lived 895 years, and then he died. Yered lived 162 years and fathered Hanok. After Hanok was born, Yered lived 800 years and had sons and daughters. In all, Yered lived 962 years, and then he died. Hanok lived 65 years and fathered Methuselah. After Methuselah was born, Hanok walked with God 300 years and had sons and daughters. In all, Hanok lived 365 years. Hanok walked with God, and then he wasn't there because God took him. Methuselah lived 187 years and fathered Lamech. After Lamech was born, Methuselah lived 782 years and had sons and daughters. In all, Methuselah lived 969 years, and then he died. Lamech lived 182 years and fathered a son, whom he called Noah. For he said, "This one will comfort us in our labor and the hard work we do with our hands to get what comes from the ground that Adonai cursed." After Noah was born, Lamech lived 595 years and had sons and daughters. In all, Lamech lived 777 years, and then he died. Noah was 500 years old, and Noah fathered Shem, Ham, and Japheth. In time, when men began to multiply on earth, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were attractive, and they took wives for themselves, whomever they chose. Adonai said, "My spirit will not live in human beings forever, for they too are flesh. Therefore their lifespan is to be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterwards, when the sons of God came in to the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. These were the ancient heroes, the men of renown. Adonai saw that the people on earth were very wicked, that all their imaginings of their hearts were always of evil only. Adonai regretted that he had made humankind on the earth, and it grieved his heart. Adonai said, "I will wipe out humankind whom I have created from the whole earth, and not only human beings, but animals, creeping things, and birds in the air, for I regret that I ever made them." But Noah found grace in the sight of Adonai. And we'll now read the Haftarah of Parashah, which is found in Yeshayahu, Isaiah 42, verse 5 through chapter 43, verse 10. Thus says God Adonai, who created the heavens and spread them out, who stretched out the earth and all that grows from it, who gives breath to the people on it and spirit to those who walk on it. I, Adonai, called you righteously. I took hold of you by the hand. I shaped you, and I made you a covenant for the people, to be a light for the Goyim, so that you can open blind eyes, free the prisoners from confinement, those living in darkness from the dungeon. I am Adonai, that is my name. I yield my glory to no one else, nor my praise to any idol. See how the former predictions come true, and now new things do I declare. Before they sprout, I tell you about them. Sing to Adonai a new song. Let his praise be sung from the ends of the earth, by those sailing the sea and by everything in it, by the coastlands and those living there. Let the desert and its cities raise their voices, the villagers where Kedar lives. Let those living in Selah shout for joy, and let them cry out from the mountaintops. Let them give glory to Adonai and proclaim his praise in the coastlands. Adonai will go out like a soldier roused to the fury of battle. He will shout, yes, he raises the battle cry as he triumphs over his foes. For a long time I have held my peace. I have been silent, restrained myself. Now I will shriek like a woman in labor, panting and gasping for air. I will devastate the mountains and hills, wither all their vegetation, turn the rivers into islands, and dry up the lakes. The blind I will lead on a road they don't know. On roads they don't know I will lead them. I will turn darkness to light before them and straighten their twisted paths. These are the things I will do without fail. Those who trust in idols, who say to statues, you are our gods, will be repulsed in utter shame. Listen, you deaf, look, you blind, so that you will see. Who is as blind as my servant, or as deaf as the messenger I send? Who is as blind as the one I rewarded, as blind as the servant of Adonai? You see much, but you don't pay attention. You open your ears, but you don't listen. Adonai was pleased for his righteousness' sake to make the Torah great and glorious. But this is a people pillaged and plundered, all trapped in holes and sequestered in prisons. They are there to be plundered, with no one to rescue them. They are to be pillaged, and no one says, return them. Which of you will listen to this? Who will hear and give heed in the times to come? Who gave Yaakov to be pillaged, Israel to the plunderers? Didn't Adonai, against whom we have sinned, in whose ways they refused to walk, he whose Torah they did not obey? This is why he poured on him his blazing anger, as well as the fury of battle. It wrapped him in flames, yet he learned nothing. It burned him, yet he did not take it to heart. But now, this is what Adonai says. He who created you, Yaakov, he who formed you, Israel, don't be afraid, for I have redeemed you. I am calling you by your name. You are mine. When you pass through waters, I will be with you. When you pass through rivers, they will not overwhelm you. And when you walk through fire, you will not be scorched. The flame will not burn you. For I am Adonai, your God, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior. I have given Egypt as your ransom, Ethiopia and Seba for you, because I regard you as valued and honored, and because I love you. For you I will give people, nations in exchange for your life. Don't be afraid, for I am with you. I will bring your descendants from the east, and I will gather you from the west. I will say to the north, give them up, and to the south, don't hold them back. Bring my sons from far away, and my daughters from the ends of the earth, everyone who bears my name, whom I created for my glory. I formed him, yes, I made him. Bring forward the people who are blind but have eyes, also the deaf who have ears. All the nations are gathered together, and the peoples are assembled. Who among them can proclaim this and reveal what happened in the past? Let them bring their witnesses to justify themselves, so that others on hearing can say, that's true. You are my witnesses, says Adonai, and my servant whom I have chosen, so that you can know and trust me and understand that I am he. No God was produced before me, nor will any be after me. And now we'll go ahead and conclude our reading in the Gospels from the book of John, chapter 1, verse 1 through 17. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word, and the, let me start again, sorry guys. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. All things came to be through him, and without him nothing made had being. In him was life, and the life was the light of mankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not suppressed it. There was a man sent from God whose name was Yochanan. He came to be a testimony, to bear witness concerning the light, so that through him everyone might put his trust in God and be faithful to him. He himself was not that light. No, he came to bear witness concerning the light. This was the true light, which gives light to everyone entering the world. He was in the world. The world came to be through him, yet the world did not know him. He came to his own homeland, yet his own people did not receive him. But to as many as did receive him, to those who put their trust in his person and power, he gave the right to become children of God, not because of bloodline, physical impulse, or human intention, but because of God. The Word became a human being and lived with us, and we saw his Shekinah, the Shekinah of the Father's only Son, full of grace and truth. Yochanan witnessed concerning him when he cried out, "This is the man I was talking about when I said, 'The one coming after me has come to rank ahead of me, because he existed before me.'" We have all received from his fullness, yes, grace upon grace. For the Torah was given through Moshe. Grace and truth came through Yeshua, the Messiah. Thank you for listening. This concludes our reading for today. May we all continue to grow in knowledge of his words, and may our walk with God grow closer. May the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panavalecha v'chunecha. Yisa Adonai panavalecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Until next time, my friends, remember that man does not live by bread alone, but man lives by every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord. So stay connected to the Word and discover your true identity. Shalom.